Alright guys, the day has finally arrived. Got a call from the building manufacturer, said the guys are already on site. So we are on the way to the build site to have our shop finally put up. I'll film it all, and we'll have a shop to show you at the end. Stick around. All right, so it's build day, we're here on site. What I wanna do is kind of film them unpacking everything and getting everything set up. Then I'll do kind of a voiceover while they're building it, so I'm not stopping the film and talking about everything while they're doing it. Kind of drags on and makes things boring, if you will. So I'm gonna let the camera roll. I'm gonna show you guys this thing getting built. Then at the end, I'll take the camera around when they're gone and I'll show you everything that they did, and we'll talk about a lot of the features that the building has and some things to look out for when you guys build your building. But they're starting to unpack right now, so let's get going with this. All right, so these sections that they're carrying right now, those are the base rails for the building. They basically get attached to the slab, and then the uprights get bolted down over those pieces that are standing up. That one base rail on the garage door side came in a full piece, so he's cutting off where the actual garage doors are gonna be. So this guy's using the sealant that I provided. This doesn't come with the building, but I had asked them if they would mind doing this for me. They charged me a little bit of extra money. So they all kind of follow each other, and you can see here that one guy's using an SDS hammer to drill holes in the ground. The other guy's putting the anchors in, pounding them in and tightening them. And this guy's working ahead of them, and he's gluing down the base rails with the sealant that I provide right there, which is a polyurethane product. You know, I just don't want any bugs and stuff like that coming in underneath it. And if we do have any type of water or heavy rains or something like that, it shouldn't be a problem because of the way my slab is designed. But still, just having a little bit of extra insurance against water intrusion or any type of other stuff coming in, it's just a really cheap form of insurance by sealing underneath that base rail. So the two side lengths are done. Now they're working on the two gable ends. So what they're doing right here, this is pretty smart. Those are the actual first and last gable ends or roof trusses that they're going to put down on the ground right here. And they're going to go ahead and take the siding because it's a little bit tricky to cut that while it's on the building. They can get a much better cut and accurate shaping of the siding if they lay it down flat and do it on the ground. All right, so they're bolting on legs now on the two end pieces, and they're going to start standing up the uprights to make the two gable ends. All right, so what we see here is they're putting roof purlins on. That's an actual material called hat channel. And that's basically what the roof decking gets screwed onto. Now they're standing up the uprights on the gable ends to close everything in. I'm actually really happy to see this part. They're taking their time and they're measuring the on-center distance between each upright to make sure they're exactly where they need to be. Just like that, it's time to start hanging some siding. All right, it's getting late in the day. We're getting some afternoon shadows, but I think that these guys are going to push forward and get this roof on before the end of the day. All right, so it's the next morning. I thought I was gonna get here bright and early and beat these guys, but they got here before me and they actually finished up almost everything. They're just putting the garage doors on now. Let's go take a look. All right, guys, so we are 30 wide by 60 deep. 30 is the widest you can go before they consider it a commercial building if you go any wider. And that's because they have to double up on the leg framing and all that to make it more of a rigid building. If you guys have been following this channel, on my last shot, you'll notice that I had vertical siding, whereas I have horizontal siding on this building. And that may seem like I went backwards to you guys, but there's a reason for it. Reason number one, that adds significant cost. Reason number two is because my house is gonna be next to this, and it's also gonna have siding, so it'll kind of match up. So I kind of wanted to keep that uniformity between my house and my accessory structure. Is a vertical sided building stronger? Yes, it is. So then why did I go with horizontal siding? Here's reason number three. This building is actually getting spray foam starting tomorrow. I'll make a video on that, but that's gonna add a ton of rigidity to this building and really kind of solidify everything and lock it up. And what I'm gonna do is be placing wall covering on the inside of this building. So you're kind of essentially doing the same thing that I would be doing with vertical siding on the outside, but only on the inside. So it's really gonna be, for all intents and purposes, a vertical sided building anyway, just in reverse. Some things to show you guys. You might see these little kind of tabs sticking out here on my base rails, and they are placed at every 5 feet wherever you see an upright. And the reason for that is our slab is built to the exact same dimensions as the building itself. So the sheet metal kind of comes down over the edge of the slab. So if you were to bolt through here onto the slab, you'd really be bolting about an inch from the edge of the concrete, which would really weaken it. And you kind of tend to have blowout of the slab when you start putting that SDS hammer drill in there. So by moving these tabs inboard a little bit of the slab, there's no risk to cracking your concrete. In between my bay doors, they doubled up on those tabs to give me a little bit of extra strength. So the engineering department, whoever designed this building, did a really good job on that. I opted for a standard 9-light door because I really don't like the trailer doors that I had on the last shop. It's just kind of a cheap styrofoam core with like 2 pieces of plastic on the outside, whereas this is wood core door. It's a lot more solid and it looks a lot nicer too. This company did all the little things right. You can see here, trim is basically cut out perfectly to match the slab. There's no jagged cuts, there's no wonky cuts or anything. They just did a really nice job. I know a lot of these things sound like little minor details, but on my last building, it was full, I mean, chock full of little tiny mistakes like that. And after a while, it kind of really grates on you and gets on your nerve, and you just kind of got to stare them in the face every day. So having a company like this that really went from that kind of building to a building where everything is just perfect and just right, it feels good. It feels like your money was well spent. Let me show you guys what I have planned for this building on the inside. Then I'll tell you all about the company who built this. Then I'll tell you down to the penny what we spent on this entire project. So as you can see, we have 4 bay doors, and what I'm planning to do is eventually, not quite yet, but I'm gonna make that last bay a dedicated paint booth. Trying to paint a vehicle in an open shop, it can be done. I've done it. I did it on the 55 Chevy truck. You guys have seen that. But there is dust nibs in it. You gotta spend a lot of extra time sanding stuff out, and it's just kind of a pain. So whatever you can do to kind of keep all that dust and trash and dirt out of your paint, like having a dedicated room or a booth to spray in, would be really huge. And that's all we really do in here is we build hot rods. So gonna be a game changer for us. For right now, until my house is built, which you can see my cinder blocks over there, it's gonna be just storage for all my furniture and stuff. Just be temporary for a couple months. Now the next 3 bays will be all for working on vehicles, and this first one is gonna have a 2-post lift installed. If you guys rewind back to the concrete slab video, you'll see that I have 2 independent 3 by 12 foot footings poured within this slab that'll support whatever kind of lift you want to throw on this thing. Second bay for working on cars, and the third bay. And the third bay will have our existing 4-post lift somewhere in here for storing vehicles and doing light work on them and whatnot. Now on this end, you get the 2 windows in the door, and basically what I'm gonna do is kind of build a mezzanine that goes across the whole side. It's gonna be approximately 10 to 12 feet deep, and I'm gonna compartmentalize it into 4 sections. Basically, you're gonna have my office here, you're gonna have an open workbench area here, then you're gonna have a bathroom and a compressor room here. Then above, of course, you're gonna have all of that storage space. To access it, rather than have stairs coming down and taking up more floor space in the middle or on the sides, what we're gonna do is kind of put a pull down attic stairs right in the workbench area. So we can pull those down right in the center. It won't come out and hit our lift or anything like that, and we'll be able to get up there in the highest peak so we don't have any clearance issues walking around. So lots of big plans for a big shop. The company that I used to build this was called Mammoth Metal Manufacturing. A guy by the name of Daniel helped me out. Really great company, really great guy. I had quite the fiasco ordering this building because I was using another company at first through a dealer, and that dealer set me up with a company called Element Structures. That company seemed kind of shady from the get-go, nothing but deceit. And about a week before my install, they called me up and said that they're no longer in business. So I was like, how are you selling me a building, telling me that you're gonna meet the install date a week beforehand, and then when that time comes, you just say, oh, guess what, we're out of business. That doesn't make sense. Something is totally fishy there, and it was just a really bad experience. So I went back to the dealer. Dealer set me up with another company, another manufacturer. That manufacturer couldn't get their pricing right with the dealer. And here I am in the meantime, past my install date, waiting for a building to get built, and nobody has any type of answers for me. And I was getting really, really frustrated. Now, I met this guy, Daniel, because ironically enough, the first company that I went through, the people that they use for install is a third-party contractor, which was this guy, Daniel. He's a licensed contractor, and they just kind of use his company, or they sub out work for him to do the installs. I noticed right off the bat that the guy was super attentive, super communicative, really nice guy. You could tell in his voice that he's just a good person. And he was kind of guiding me the whole way. He's like, you should tell your company this. You should tell your company that. You should try this. You should try that. Always answered his phone, always answered texts. And for a guy like me, I kind of get OCD and neurotic about stuff like that. And I really can't stand when people just ghost you and don't pick up the phone and don't answer texts. And he was just right on top of things the whole time. So him and I got together on the second attempt to get this building built. And, you know, I was kind of thinking, man, it would be nice if I just went with him from the get-go. And then he kind of mentioned it to me. He's like, you know, I'm not trying to like be salesman-like and take your money. He goes, but I can totally take this project over for you if you want. We manufacture our own buildings in-house. You don't have to deal with the third party. You don't have to deal with a separate contractor. We just do everything. I'll sell you the building, I'll build it, and I'll come install it for you all myself. So we spoke to my dealer, and I guess they agreed, and it worked out. He's like, look, I know you're already in the time crunch. I'll get this building to you delivered and installed in 3 weeks. And that's exactly what he did. If you guys are pretty much anywhere on the Eastern Seaboard, I think they kind of service everybody over here. Mammoth Metal Manufacturing is who you want to call. This is my second metal building, and I've been on the forums and I've been dealing with these metal building companies, and it's just, The way they act is just a plague on the entire industry, and this guy is just changing the game completely. He was competitively priced, and he gives you a super, super product. And most of all, he just knows how to act like a decent human being. So Daniel and Mammoth Metal Manufacturing, thank you sincerely very much. I am super, super happy with this shop. I know if any of you guys are interested and you're going to give them a call and you end up buying a building through them, you're going to be super satisfied with your building as well. So total pricing for this building, the building itself, just the metal structure and the garage doors and all that, ended up being $18,100, or some cents or whatever it was, but roughly $18,100. The slab was done through my trusty guy, Miguel Lopez Construction. I always use him for concrete. He does a fantastic job. Does it right, uses vapor barrier, uses rebar, mesh, does the footings, does everything. Compacted base material in 4,000 PSI concrete, fiber reinforced and power troweled on top, and a partridge in a pear tree. It was initially quoted at $12,000, went up to $15,000 because we had to do a lot of grading to get this nice and flat since we have a hill that drops off here. We also had to dig deeper footings, which I showed you guys in the slab video, because the inspector didn't really know what he was doing, to be honest with you, and made us dig 16-inch footings instead of 12-inch, which is way overkill for a tin can building like this. So it brought the total up to the concrete for $15,000 almost exactly. So total with grading, concrete, and building itself was $33,100 for everything. Now, insulation, of course, is going to be extra, and that's going to start tomorrow. I'm not going to cram too much in this video, so if you guys are interested in that, you can follow along with that. I'll price that all out, and I'll show you the job that they're going to do. Guys, we are so close to moving back in this thing. I start working on vehicles again. I can taste it. I can't wait. Big, huge thanks to Mammoth Metal Manufacturing, and a big, huge thanks to Lopez Construction. I'm going to put all their information down in the comments below, in the pinned comment, and also in the description. If you guys are interested in having your building built, their contact information will all be there for you guys to check out. Almost time, guys. We're almost back. I want to thank each and every one of you for hanging in there with me. I know it's been kind of a break from building cars for a while, and the views are down. I know this is kind of boring for a lot of you guys, but it is a big deal to me, and it's just a huge step for us to get back to what you guys all like to see and what I like to do, which is building street rods. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for sticking with me. And until next time, I'll see you back in the shop. Then I'll tell you, shut up!